Been gone for a minute now. I'm back with the jump off. I wouldn't be me if I didn't do that. It just needed to be done. So happy February, everyone. I hope you are well, happy, blessed, prosperous, amazingly healed. I pray that everything is going well in your life. And I pray that you are just commanding your morning, okay? So I just wanted to talk to people about this topic. I had another topic in mind. I was going to talk about when the enemy knows your identity, right? The enemy knows exactly who you are. I think I'll do that another day. But for today, we're going to talk about when destiny finds you. And we all talk about purpose and destiny and, oh, what did God put me on this earth to do? What is it I'm supposed to be doing? What's my direction? You know what I mean? That's something that I think we've all prayed or, wondered, like, what am I meant to do on this earth? And it's funny because this morning, I pray every morning, of course. I take at least an hour and change, just pray, worship God, and then read and journal, right? So I journal a lot. And I was in awe because I looked over, the past of my life. I always look over my life, right? And I look over things that I wanted, things that I desired, the ceiling, right, of the things that I could see at certain ages and certain times, right? When I was younger, when I was a baby, what did I want to do? When I was 10, what did I want to do? When I was 20, what did I want to when I was 30, what did I want to do? And I saw how it progressed and matured over time because as it's not that destiny or purpose shifts, but I feel like you get a clearer perspective of what you are destined to do, if that makes sense. And then as you heal and you become more mature, and then you get delivered or you are more sober, right? And where God wants to take you, I feel like it changes your mind, it changes your thoughts, right? And it propels you on a different path. And if I'm being honest, when I was younger, what I wanted to do did not exist yet, right? The things that I wanted to do while it was a seed form when I was born, right? It was a seed form. And then as I grew, I had a perspective of what I thought my life would look like. Right. I thought, oh, by this age and time, I'll have this. By this age and time, I'll have that. By this time, this is the plan. This is the goal. Right. But what I needed to do, what I realized is God's hand was in each decade of my life. Right. And not only was his hand in it, he was knitting together purpose through situations, relationships, friendships, businesses. Every single thing that's ever happened to me, right? Or things I got myself into. Let's be honest, right? We've got ourselves into situations, right? We've allowed the enemy to, you know, deceive us and lie to us and guide us in the wrong direction. Even in that, God still found destiny in those things. He still pulled destiny out of me. He still pushed me, right? And it's funny because a lot of people will tell you, hey, you should do this like this, and hey, you should do that like that, and hey, you should be this way with this because that's not normal. That is not the way everybody else does it. That is you I read this book and they said that we should do it like this. Right? We get a lot of that right now. We got a bunch of YouTube videos up and we got people that are prophets that are you need to do this in this season. You need to do a vision board. You need to manifest this thing, right? And you've tried it. You've used crystals, you've used everything. Okay. And it hasn't worked. It hasn't come into fruition yet. Maybe it's been a year, 5 years, 10 years, 11 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? And for me, there's still things that I'm believing God for. There's still things that I am personally like, God, I want to see that. But then there's also things that I couldn't have prayed for, right? There were specific things that He's blessed me with where I'm like, how did this form from this? Like, how did you pull me out of this place and place me here, right? And then this morning, for the first time, in a long time, I would probably say ever. I felt like he took me through each place of my life where I felt like I was at my lowest. And I looked at that situation. I realized this is going to help me minister to someone here. This is going to help me speak life into someone here. This happened. And even though it happened to me, maybe it was out of your control. Maybe it was another person that did it, right? Because everything that happens to us isn't always our fault, right? It isn't always us that's just doing stuff. Sometimes it's things that other people have done. But I challenge you, if you can turn that negative into a positive, you can allow God to shift your mindset on what happened to you. And instead of holding in it and then becoming depressed and anxious and fearful of living and truly living, how about I challenge you to take that fear by the head, by the horns, and still do it? Right? Because when destiny does find you and purpose finds you, most of the time, you're not quite prepared. You don't know everything. You don't know your identity yet. You don't fully grasp what God is doing, right? And it's weird, right? It becomes weird. It's like, okay, I used to think, like for me, I'll use myself as an example. When I was a kid, I don't know where it came from. I was obsessed with success. I love success. I thought about success. And my perspective of success was school, college, becoming a doctor in my field. And that was the key to making money, right? In my mind. As I matured, then I started working different jobs. I saw the treatment of, just people and employees and how employees weren't treated right. It was a lot of favoritism, wasn't a lot of rights for the employees. So I started to, now the entrepreneurship side of me started to be pulled on a little bit. If I had a business, I wouldn't run it this way. If I had a business, I would be a team player. If I had a business, I would do it this way, right? I wasn't always about being the manager and telling people what to do. When originally, when I was a kid, that seemed like what I want. I wanted to boss people around. If I'm being honest. As I got older, I wanted to create an atmosphere for people to work together cohesively and as a family unit, right? Or as people that care about each other and grow and mature, and each person in their expertise working together to push a vision forward, right? Not just, oh, my vision, but a collective vision for all of us to get to a goal that, of course, will give God honor and glory, but will help and employ a lot of people. That was my perspective of it, not the whole thing, right? Most of it came into fruition today, right? God enlightened me to know more. But back then, I just wanted my own company. Then I opened one of my first businesses ever. And I got so much support from like over 50 people, people over, out of the country. So that was my first business. I started learning business etiquette. I learned it like on the field, in the field, and not learning it prior to. I didn't, read a whole bunch of books. I did a little bit of research and then I just went for it because they always say experience is the best teacher, right? And in that one business, five other businesses came from that. And then I got to a place where I felt like God was telling me to kind of, minimize my costs, and things like that. And then I wanted to be more educated by people who were in a position to help me, right? I wanted to know more about my field, right? I wanted to study more. And then my business matured and then I matured, right? My destiny matured. Not that it shifted. It was already planted. It was a seed that was planted. But I needed to go through certain things to get to the place where everything would be, where I would see that first flower, right? Because the seed was planted way before I was born, right? And my great 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 grandmother, father, whoever. And then from there, through generations on generation, now you're here. And then in you, that flower is blooming, right? Now the flower's blooming, and you find that, this could be something I can do for a lifetime. I truly find joy doing this. And if I'm being honest, I tried everything I could do to run away from the work that I needed to put in for destiny. Isn't that crazy? Like I almost tried to sabotage certain things because I couldn't see the vision. My perspective of the destiny and the purpose God had for me was altered by my understanding. right? The length of time it was going to take, the type of opportunity it was going to take, the type of business I wanted to do. I kept having these thoughts like, oh, this is how I'm going to do it. And if I'm being honest with you and I look today, it was in the things I did not want to do that destiny was waiting for me. So, my challenge and my question to you is, what is it that you are not doing today that deep down you've talked yourself out of it already because you don't feel worthy of what God has called you to, right? You don't feel that you want to do it. And it's not even that you don't want to do it. You want to do it, but there's a fear. Will I measure up? You know what I'm saying? Am I on the level of these other people? Okay, you looking at everybody else. This person do it like this. I'm on their social media. I want they love. I want they marriage. I want they business. But what about what God has for you? Because grass is greener where you water it. So if you get to a place where you're like, huh, you know what? God has been telling me to sit down and write this book for like 6 weeks. Every morning I wake up, like, I need to write this book, but I'm at work. I don't want to take no time off and I go on vacation. I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna take on time when I go on vacation. I ain't gonna take off time to write no book. I don't want to write no book. You know how many books out there? What's the chance of it being successful? What if that's the one thing that's the key to your destiny, right? What if it's in the workout, right? Let's say you want to lose weight. And what if you are the person that is going to post on social media from start to finish that's going to inspire 100 women to lose weight? Right? What if you sharing your testimony and going live on social media, despite the critics, is the key to your destiny, right? So, my question is, what are you doing right now that is sabotaging the destiny that's already in front of you? Because when destiny finds you, we think it's this whole party, right? It's enlightenment. I'm so enlightened. And I can't speak for everybody else. Maybe that is the case. Maybe you are willing to put in that work, but I know I wasn't. I was procrastinating. I was dragging my feet. And I was like, honestly, I really don't want to be bothered with this. And even the thought of the success behind it did not motivate me to do it because I was truly comfortable in the place that God had placed me. I was like, I'm comfortable here. I never thought I would be in this place. Why do I now need to work in an area that I'm not familiar in to learn something I've never done? Like I'm comfortable here. And one thing about, let me tell you one thing about God, God got a sense of humor. The more comfortable I got, then you start to you feel now you're feeling different. Like it's weird. Like your posture starts changing because now you're like, dang, now I actually feel like doing this. Now I'm actually interested. Now I'm actually curious on how to do this better. Now I'm actually thinking about purpose. Now purpose is consuming me. Destiny is consuming me. It's everywhere I go. I am finding that God is confirming that this is what he wants me to do. Everywhere I turn, every conversation, every show, for some reason, I am recognizing that there's purpose in this. And I have been running from that because of my perspective of who was going to be with me, right? Who was going to support me, who I wanted to prove wrong, um, the timing of how it needs to happen. Like, oh, that's going to take 5 years. No, it ain't. Who said that? You get what I'm saying? Oh, because I don't have this person in my life no more, God no longer wants to bless me with that. Who told you that? Oh, because she got it before me, that means that I know I can't attain that same thing. Maybe God has different for you. Maybe he has better for you. But the more you focus on yourself, right? Destiny will find you. I mean, and it will find you in the most miraculous places. And I'm going to share a story with you guys that I didn't plan on sharing, but I'm going to share it anyway. So I was recently on a flight. Um, and I change seats on the flight, right? I like to sit by myself on the flight. I gotta be honest. I don't like to switch seats. I love to sit by the window. The window is my thing, it's my judge. I love it, right? So I sit by the window, I look out the window, I take pictures. It's just something I've done ever since I ever got on my first flight. Just something I've done, right? And a woman sits next to me. So, anybody knows this, I'm introverted by nature. I get joy. And I won't say joy. I have God give me joy every day, but I feel purposed when I'm alone. Despite how extroverted people think I am, I truly enjoy being by myself, right? This woman sits next to me. She's like, she had said something to me and then she touched me, right? So I was like, kind of like, you know, a little shady at first, guarded, right? And then, you warm up. So I just start, I think, watching a movie, kind of relaxing. And no, 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 I got to start from the beginning. I'm sorry, y'all. I got to start from the beginning. So, okay. So woke up a morning to go to a place, right? To my destination. I that morning I felt, you know what I'm saying? You ever wake up and know, okay, today gonna be one of them days, right? And you don't want to speak that over your day. So you want to, at that time I didn't think like that. I was just like, today gonna be one of them days. So I don't know if you guys know, I have a puppy. So I take my puppy, we're traveling, go to the airport, get to the airport to put my puppy on with me, but called, the airport in advance, like, hey, I want to bring my puppy. What do I need to do? Oh, just buy a carrier. So I go and buy one carrier. The carrier looks too big. I keep feeling like it's too big. It's too big. Then I'm like looking at other carriers. I'm like, hey, do you have one that's this big? Oh, no. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to get any carrier. I'm just going to get one at the airport because they sell them at the airport. So then I get to the airport. I'm like, hey, I want to put my dog on such and such. Do you guys sell them? Yes, we do. Your dog is too big. Now, mind you, the flight is about to leave. Now we're counting down, right? We have to get to this destination by a specific time because it's something very important waiting there for me. So I can't even push it off. Now, first I wanted to say, forget it. This airline is stupid. I never flew with you guys, and this is why, because y'all are dumb. Right? I don't got time for this. This is dumb as heck. You ain't even let me try to put my puppy in it. Now, me knowing my dog is pretty big, right? She is pretty big. And I was like, now I know for next time what I need to do, but let me not get off, the subject. So anyway, I end up, because the God is so good, I end up finding a sitter for her. Record time, the person is in the area, able to pick her up and keep her for me while I go away. So I'm like, this is a blessing. So I was really frustrated. I go to check in, go through TSA, record time, bing, bing, bing. They super nice. Hey, let me help you. Let me help you. We rushing through it. Then get through TSA. They check me. Nothing needed to be rechecked. Right now, my friend is with me. Her stuff got to be checked now. Right. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So she got stuff in there that got to be thrown out. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Now we still have time. We got about maybe 6, 7 minutes before the plane leaves. So she takes off running. I'm like, I'm going to meet you, girl. By the time she gets there, the door's open. So she's like trying to check in. They're like, oh, that here she is, blah, blah, blah. She stops, right, to talk to these people. Then the door closes. The plane's still sitting there. By the time I get there, she's telling me they won't let her get on the plane. He won't let us get on the plane, basically. So now we're both I am feeling rageful at this point. I am angry, right? And I have tried to calm myself down. So then I come over to the counter and the lady's like, "Oh, this is what we do at this airline, just something stupid." I said, "But we were saying they just made the announcement. So why in the world would y'all not let us on? Because by the time they made it, it was already closed and you couldn't get on, blah, blah, blah." Which we all know that there was no seats. Nobody took our seats. It was not a full flight. They just chose not to do it. So I'm angry. Okay, like I'm beyond angry because, in my perspective of the situation, if I had got there first, oh, we definitely would have been on that plane, baby. Because the way I would have went off and asked for a manager, and that manager's manager, it would have went down. Okay, there was a reason why my friend got there first because she is not as abrasive. I'm not gonna say abrasive, but she's not as confrontational. as I can be with certain situations, right? Thank God for good friends. We don't need to be the same. We need to be different, right? One can calm the other one down and so forth. So anyway, um she's speaking to the lady. I come over. Okay, we're gonna switch your flights, blah, blah, blah. There's another flight leaving in 15 minutes. This is what they tell her. They ask for my ID for the third or fourth time. I've never been in an airline where anyone has asked for my driver's license 50,000 times. So I'm I slam my ID now at this point, and I'm looking at them. We go to the other gate. The gate is really close, right? Just walk on over. Maybe 15, 20 minutes later, um, we are able to get on the flight. So now we're good. And my seat is different than her seat. No, no, no. Right? No, no, no. I end up moving my seat because, like I said, I like to be sit by myself, kind of look out the window, watch a movie, whatever, whatever, whatever. She chooses another seat. And then we're ready to take off. Now, the only difference with this flight is going to make a quick stop one place, to let some people or let some people on and so forth. So I end up watching a movie. I didn't even finish the movie, but I'm just watching the movie and I'm like, okay, pretty good movie so far. So good. Didn't finish it. We get to the destination. The phone about to die. So now I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, I don't feel like talking to nobody. Maybe I need to take a nap. So uh, the people, get off the flight or whatever. We're waiting for new people to get on. They get on. Of course, there's so many seats empty. And they're like, oh, it's a full flight. It wasn't, which is what we figured from the first airport. So this woman comes and sits next to me and she says something to me and like touch me kind of like I was telling y'all before and I was like, I don't know about that. And then but she was cool, so I was like, all right, shook it off a little bit. And then there was a woman came on the plane looking for a seat, and this woman is like, oh, you can sit here. Now I already told y'all, the way I am, I like to sit alone, right? And we are in a pandemic, so in addition to that, I don't want anybody sitting right next to me. So anyway, God must have heard my prayer because the woman sat somewhere else. So now the woman next to me, she's reading a book. Y'all, I'm not making this up. This woman is reading was not Prayers That Rouse Demons by John Eckhart, but another book with some prayers that break curses and brings healing, something like that to that extent. And I said, that's a powerful book. Like I've never actually read the book, but I read the other book, Prayers That Rouse Demons. So I know, John Eckhart, he gives that wisdom for prayers and warfare, and that kind of thing, right? A Christian book, mind you. So right now we're in a different state. We're not in my home state. We are somewhere else, and this person sits next to me. So I just kept looking at the book. I don't know what it was, and I was just like, "Hey, that's a powerful book. How is it?" Right? She was reading a first book, then she read that book. So, oh, how was it? Oh, it was good. And stuff like that. So I said, oh, okay, cool. And she starts telling me her testimony. Well, tell me what happened with her family member and that her family member was going through something, hence why she was reading the book. I don't want to share what it was, but it was something really unfortunate. And in that book, we start having a conversation. And she says, yeah, I was walking on the plane and I heard sit next to you. And I'm laughing to myself, right? Because Whew, I can't even say why I laughed. I kind of chuckled because I was like, God has a sense of humor, right? Because I'm in a whole nother state. I don't know this woman. She doesn't know me, but she proceeds to sit next to me. This is when I talk about when destiny finds you, right? And she starts telling me about her situation and what's going on with her. And my heart, like I start crying, right? I'm getting emotional now, but I cried. Like I felt in my heart, I just felt for this woman and what she was going through. And I started praying for her, right? And I'm just like this feeling of love, like God's love and protection over her, just it overwhelmed me, right? And she was like, thank you. Thank you for that. And what do you need prayer for? And I was like, thank you. Like, thank you for asking that. Thank you for caring. Thank you for wanting to, cover me in prayer and pray for me. And it was two things that he told me to ask for her to pray for me. And I was just like, this is kind of personal. You know what I'm saying? I don't know this lady like that. I don't know people in my business. But when I said it, she just started speaking over me. You know what I mean? Speaking a word from the Lord over me. And we both started crying. And I'm just like, God, how do you do what you do? Like, how in the world did you find this woman and then you changed you made me miss my flight, Lord. And you made this airline act a plumb fool about my dog. And then like you supernaturally shifted like what the trajectory of where I was going because you wanted this woman to meet me and you wanted me to meet her. She tells me about a book. It's like, hey, I tell her about a book. She tells me about the book. And she's like, hey, you should look up these prayers. It really helps with, clarity, direction. So it was called Command the Morning by what's the lady's name? I forgot her name. I'm sorry, y'all. But it was Command Your Morning, and that was basically what she told me. And then I ended up um reading the book today. And when I tell you that the accuracy and the timing of this book is nothing but God. And that's a true testament of who he's been in my life, who he is in your life. That destiny can find you on a missed flight. Destiny can find you at home. It can find you through a Uber Eats. It can find you in a restaurant. God can find you wherever you are. And as long as you are it's not even predicated on you. That's the crazy thing. It's not even predicated on your willingness to do it or say it or be it or find it. It's literally predicated on who he is and how he does it. And it's funny because some of the things she shared with me, some of the things I shared with her, it was filled with destiny. It was filled with what God had been speaking over me. It was filled with my whole life led me to this moment on this missed plane. We missed the plane to get on another plane. Okay. And then that plane had to sit, like we couldn't go straight to the destination because I like my nonstop flights. God said, no, 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 we're going to make a stop because there's someone you need to meet and there's someone that needs to meet you. And it confirmed the light that God has placed on my life, just like He's placed it on yours. And I just didn't expect this to be this long, but I do feel that destiny will find you when it finds you, even when you run, even when you try to sabotage it. There's a scripture that says every prophecy must be fulfilled. Right? As Jesus says that nothing can die, nothing really truly dies, right? It's always alive. So even that prophecy from 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, your grandmama prophecy, your great great grandmama prophecy, it has to be done in your bloodline. It has to be done. And I challenge you for it to be done with you, that you be the one that says, God, I want to live out your dreams for me. I want God's dreams for my life. I want God's dreams manifested daily. I want to live the life that He orchestrated for me or for you from the beginning of time. And I want to enjoy it and have joy doing it, you know? So, anyway, we went all over the place, but I hope that this blesses you guys. I am still on a semi sabbatical, so I won't be posting again next week, but I did want to talk about when destiny finds you. And I pray that it blesses you. This story is not made up. I'm glad I have witnesses because sometimes these things happen and you just like, if nobody else wasn't here, wouldn't nobody believe me? So I just want to send love to everyone. And I pray that even through what the world is going through, that you are the light, that Jesus is the true delight and the way. And through him, we can literally accomplish anything. The impossible is made possible. And I want you to believe that you have authority, that you are powerful, amazing, beautiful, courageous, constantly healing, constantly growing, and that you give yourself grace today, that you have supernatural peace, and that you just have an amazing day. So happy Saturday. I'll speak to you next month. Bye.